And then I have not had to look back. So for the last 3.5 years, I've been self-employed. Um, and I think one of the themes, the reason I'm telling you all these stories is because there's multiple facets to this podcast. And the reason I named it Healthy Systems is because have you ever wondered what successful people have that you don't? What are they doing that you might not be doing? How are they so fit, toned, and healthy while you're not? You ever wondered what you might be missing? Hi, my name is Mo Gayas. Essentially, I'm a kid who's obsessed with winning and sharing the lessons with you because growing up, I wish I had someone like me to help me out. On the Healthy Systems podcast, you will learn one main idea, system from each episode that you can use in your life, whether that is financial, relationships, fitness, and wellness. So if you're a millennial, you're hyper ambitious, this podcast is for you because the more systematic your life is, the more you can win and not waste time. So join me on your journey to building a life of healthy systems for yourself. Hello. Welcome to the Healthy Systems podcast with Coach Moe Gayas of Training with the Titans. I'm super excited about episode number 1 and to kickstart this project that I've been wanting to do for the last several months. First part of this episode, I will introduce myself to you, all the things I've done, what qualifies me to be here, and some of my personal story. On the second half of the podcast, as an online health and fitness coach, a nutrition coach, I know a lot of you might be listening to this who want to lose weight, who want to get in shape, who want to lose fat, tone up. I'm going to give you, towards the second half of this podcast, I'm going to give you 4-step process that we use with all of our paying clients to get them amazing results. Okay. So if you just follow that 4-step process I'm going to give you in the second half of the podcast, not only will you get the results, but also you'll learn how to keep those results forever. Okay. So the first half of the podcast, let me introduce myself just so you know who I am, because I know there's a lot of podcasts that are out there now, and a lot of people, they just, you're like, who am I even listening to? Right. So me personally, Coach Moe, I grew up in Pakistan actually. So grew up on the other side of the world. I'm in the United States right now, obviously. So grew up there up until the age of 13 when my family moved to Detroit, Michigan. So growing up in Pakistan in a small village with 2 older sisters, as well as, my parents and my younger brother was a very, very unique experience because looking back, is probably the best thing that happened to me because when you grew up on that side of the world and you learn the values of, Eastern cultures, and then you move to United States and you start here in middle school and then high school and then go to college here, you end up being a very well put together, you tend to have a very well put together outlook of life. And I think you're forced to have that because me growing up until 8th grade, life was simple. All these friends I had, my cousins, everybody I had known all of my life, right? We all went to school together. We played cricket together. We went to the mosque together. We did all of those things. And then when we moved here, now to America, 8th grade, Mo, not knowing how to speak a word of English. Parents don't know how to speak a word of English. We literally moved here. My aunt lived here, but your aunt can't do everything for you. So you have to learn to be adaptable. You have to learn to speak language fast because if you don't, you feel helpless. So for me, I remember first day of 8th grade was everybody's middle school journey. I'm sure is very similar because it's always like weird. But for me, it was a chance to learn a new language, a chance to learn a new school system, a chance to be in a new society, a new culture, be around all of these diverse group of people that I had never seen before. So that was 8th grade. And then I remember at first struggling in school because I couldn't even speak English, then learning English and then working really hard. I remember being in 9th grade and realizing that for geometry class, if I practice these geometry problems again and again and again, if I practice these problems enough time, I can get an A in the class. Like I don't have to know how to speak English. And that's exactly what happened. I since that point on, that event of not knowing how to speak English and trying to get good grades, it taught me the power of hard work. and that if you try hard enough, if you put enough effort in, you will win. So I remember getting all A's in 10th grade. It took me a year and a half, but getting all A's for the first time in 10th grade and being very proud of myself. I'm like, okay, now that I've gotten the reward, I can do this again and again. And that became the theme. And then when I graduated high school with honors, I ended up going to an engineering school. So I went to Kettering University in Flint, Michigan, which used to be known as GMI, General Motors Institute. I went there for biochemistry at first, and then after, pre-med as well. So when I was 2.5 years into the biochemistry program, I realized I didn't want to work for a PhD biochemist and be their lab bitch, for the lack of a better word. I wanted to do my own thing. So that's when, at that point, this is 2013, 2014, I realized that computer programming was becoming more and more popular. So I changed my majors from biochemistry to computer science and bioinformatics. So now I'm learning how to code in Java. I'm learning computer programming, as well as around the same time, I was trying to lose fat. I was gaining a lot of weight. I was putting on fat. And I realized that if I want my life to look different, I need to take my health seriously. So I started a soccer team um, in college. And then game three, I ended up tearing my ACL. Now, that injury took me out of soccer. So now I needed a surgery. I needed a physical therapy. It was the worst thing that happened at the worst time. I'm like taking 20 credits in school. I'm working at a hospital, and now I'm injured. I can't play sports and I feel overweight. You know that feeling of frustration when you're like, God, why me? I was just trying to get in shape. I was trying to get healthy, and now I'm injured. So I'm even like, I'm on the other side of being unhealthy. I just didn't want that, right? But that experience, as hard as it also was the biggest blessing, because during that recovery process, my surgeon, my orthopedic surgeon, sent me to go to a physical therapy place. And guess what they have you do with physical therapy? Well, they have you do a lot of strength training workouts, right? They want to build your quads. They want to build your, especially if it's the knee surgery, they want to strengthen up your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, right? They want your legs to get stronger. So we would do a lot of those workouts, and it was so much fun, to a point where I realized how much I enjoyed it. So I started doing it on my own. I hired a trainer, and then I started doing these workouts on my own, and I enjoyed it. Within 9 months or so, for the first time in my life, I had six-pack abs. Now I'm in college. I have abs. I look great. I feel great. And I'm so proud of myself. But at the same time, I'm still planning to go to medical school. But now I'm studying engineering. So through all of this, towards the end of college, when I graduated college, I signed up for my first men's physique competition. And then while I was competing, while I was prepping for that show, now I had to make a decision. One decision was I go to a graduate school so I can get into medical school. Second option was I go get a job in corporate America and I go from there. School at that time, after studying engineering for 5 years, and it felt like I'd been in school forever. Continuing school or going to graduate school, even though I had been accepted into a Master's of Public Health program in Philadelphia, continuing school, it just did not seem like the challenge. And I think that's been the theme of my life throughout, is I always try to do the thing that is harder, but feels better to my soul, feels better to myself. Like, it's the harder route. It's the less trodden part, less the path less trodden upon. And for me at that time, I decided to look for a job, and I put the graduate school on hold. I went and I applied to a bunch of engineering jobs, and then they would always be like, okay, like, you're a good engineer, but why did you work in a hospital? Why were you pre-med? Why are you trying to get an engineering job now, right? They would always give me those things. And then one day I came across a job that really fit my criteria, which was a healthcare consulting job. So long story short, for the next 3 years, I traveled all across America, worked with hospitals from all sizes, and I managed those accounts as a systems engineer, but also as a business analyst. And that job taught me a lot, because while I started that job, it was remote. I was learning a lot. I was traveling a lot. I was also getting this itch inside of me that, hey, man, you can do more. You can, because at that time, remember, I had already competed in a men's physique show. So I got this idea that I can be a fitness trainer. So I went and I got certified. And then there was one of my friends, he was already doing it. And I asked him if he could help teach me things. And he's like, yeah, man, like I paid a lot of money to learn this, but I'll teach you for 3 months. I'll give you all my systems and you can just pay me this much. So that was a big risk because I didn't have that money. So I was like, all right, bro, like it's fair. Like I know you spent a lot of money getting and gathering this knowledge. And in college, we pay a lot for classes. So I was like, okay, like it's fair game. I can pay for this. So I paid my friend money to mentor me in business. So he taught me the basics of how to actually build a coaching business, how to do marketing, how to do sales, how to actually get your clients amazing results. I was already good at getting people results. I just didn't know how to actually get people to come join you. Like, what do I do? Do I just shout on Facebook, Instagram? Like, what do I do? Right? Do I have business cards? Right? Like, you just don't know what you don't know. That was 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago now. And that little side hustle turned into my full-time career a couple of years later. And Training with the Titans, which is my fitness coaching company, it took off. And we've got a lot of clients. I ended up resigning from my very, very good corporate career. And then I have not had to look back. So for the last 3.5 years, I've been self-employed. And I think one of the themes, the reason I'm telling you all these stories is because there's multiple facets to this podcast. And the reason I named it Healthy Systems is because there's a lot of different systems that you need in place to be healthy in your life, whether it's with your nutrition, whether it's with exercise, whether it's with your decisions you make in life, right? As you can tell, I've already had to make several decisions in my life based on the story I just told you. Grad school or work a job or start my own business, start online fitness, or, pay off student loans. Like there's a lot of decisions. So Healthy Systems, we're going to cover all of these things in more detail in the weeks coming up. Most of the podcast will be around 15 to 20 minutes long, so more chewable size content. And then you can also follow me along on Instagram at Moe Ghias, Ghias. We'll love to follow you back. Just let me know that you're a Healthy Systems listener, and that would mean the world to me. But long story short, 6.5 years later, I have my team and I have trained over 900 fitness clients, and we continue to onboard new clients that are willing to, take their health and fitness to the next level. At the end of the day, we are relatively very good at what we do. I don't want to say relatively. We are very good at what we do because we've done this long enough, and we're also engineers who built a fitness business. And I think the best part about that is we understood systems. And that's why this podcast is called Healthy Systems, right? Anybody can lose weight. Anybody can lose weight for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Staying in shape for the rest of your life, that's the hard part. And that's what we teach at Training with the Titans. So in this podcast, I want to be sharing a lot of those lessons with you, all of it for free, of no charge to you. And now, that was the first part of the podcast. I'm currently in my office. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I have a beautiful office here in Detroit and overlooking most of the city behind me on the 20th floor. I love the high rises. I'm sure you do too. If you're listening to this, high rise, there's something nice about them, right? But now back to the topic on hand. What is the 4-step process to hit your fat loss goals? I promised I was going to give it to you guys. And, I feel like I can go on and on about my story, but you'll get to know me better as we continue posting more podcasts. So I don't want to waste too much of your time. I know your time is very precious. So 4-step process, what I would recommend is actually having a pen and a paper nearby, or if you're driving, you can just listen along and then take action after you get home. So the 4-step process to help you lose fat, help you get in shape, help you achieve your goals by yourself pretty much without having to pay someone. Okay. So the acronym of this 4-step process is called USAC. USAC. I called it USAC. Just like our country, USA, it's USA and the letter C. Okay. USAC. What does USAC stand for? Well, we're going to break it down. The U in USAC stands for urgency. The S in USAC stands for strategy. A in USAC stands for accountability. And then C in USAC stands for consistency. So here's what I would like you to do, especially if your goal is fat loss. So we'll go through a couple examples, but let's start off with the fat loss example and deploy USAC to that. So USAC. So you're trying to lose fat. Hopefully, maybe you're trying to lose 20 pounds of fat. So that's our goal, to lose 20 pounds of fat. So write that down. And then let's break it down. Now, U is urgency. Are you trying to lose 20 pounds of fat in 1 year, in 10 years, or in 4 months, right? What's the urgency, right? So if you have an event coming up, perhaps you're getting married, perhaps you're speaking on stage, perhaps you have this big event happening in your life, or you're doing a photo shoot. Let's say that photo shoot is 4 months away. Okay. Whatever the date is, put that date next to the letter U. Okay. So now we have the date. So for example, 4 months from now will be March 4th of 2024. Okay. So that's the date. By March 4th of 2024, I want to lose 20 pounds of fat because on that day, I have a wedding photo shoot. I'm getting engaged. On that day, speaking on stage. On that day, I'm traveling to Hawaii. On that day, I'm doing a photo shoot. Whatever that day is, put that next to the letter U. Now, next is the strategy. Now, the word strategy gets thrown out a lot, but all I want you to worry about is what is your strategy to losing fat? Just to begin with, are you going to do intermittent fasting? Are you going to count macros? Are you going to follow a diet like ketogenic? By the way, I hate keto, but let's use keto as example. Perhaps your strategy is I'm going to quit drinking alcohol. Whatever that is, put that under strategy, right? Now we have the strategy, we have the urgency. Now we also have to have a strategy around exercise. So is your exercise that you're going to walk 10,000 steps? Is your exercise that you're going to the gym 4 days a week? Is your exercise that you're going to get signed up with Coach Moe? Or is your exercise that you're going to get signed up at Orange Theory or something like that? Right? So you need one strategy for nutrition and one strategy that you're going to use for your workouts and exercise. So now we have the urgency. We know that by March 4 of 2024, 4 months away, we want to be in shape and we want to be 20 pounds lighter. Then we pick the strategy. So USAC, we've covered U and we've covered S. Now we're going to go to accountability. In this journey of fat loss, mind you, I've done this for a decade, and I can tell you from all the clients I've coached and even myself, you're going to need an accountability partner because keeping yourself accountable is really, really hard, especially on those days when you just don't feel like it, when you have no willpower. So having someone you feel accountable to, whether it's your best friend, whether it's another one of your friends that's in shape, whoever that is, you need accountability. So for me, that accountability will be my coach, Will. Okay. And then the last part of that C, or that USAC, the C stands for consistency. So now we have the date picked out. Now we also have the strategy picked out for workouts and nutrition. And then we have the accountability partner picked out. And now the last thing we're going to do is, this is on your own, which is consistency. You have to develop the muscle of consistency. And remember, the best way to stay consistent is to remove complexity. Make it simple. They say complexity is the enemy of consistency. So the harder you make it for yourself, like let's say right now, you don't get any walking done. And now you're trying to do 10,000 steps, which is going to take you 2.5, 3 hours of walking. Don't set yourself up for failure, right? Don't make your life complex. Make your life easier by just setting a goal of that I'm going to start walking 3,000 steps because right now I'm at 0, right? So to get more consistency, you're going to need simplicity. Make it simple for yourself to follow this. Okay. If it's hard, you're not going to stick to it. Complexity is the enemy of consistency. So now let's go back through it. USAC, urgency. By when do you want to be in shape? By when do you want to lose fat? By when? Like, what is that special day? Pick a date. And maybe if you don't have anything special coming up, what you can do is just schedule a photo shoot with your best friend. Like, let's say they have an iPhone or they have a nice camera. Just be like, hey, man, let's set up. Can we do a photo shoot in March, or can we do a photo shoot 4 months from now? Right. I would love to use that as my accountability. Right. And then, so pick the date for urgency. And then you're going to pick a strategy, what nutrition plan you're going to follow and what workout plan are you going to follow. And it can be as simple as I'm going to be intermittent fasting until noon, and then I'll just have lunch and dinner. Or it can be as simple as that I'll start going to the gym 3 days a week or 4 days a week, right? And by the way, if you need sample free meal plans or workout plans, always just message me on Instagram at Mo Gaius. We have so many. We'd love to give it to you, especially as a listener of Healthy Systems. So We talked about urgency strategy, then accountability. Like pick an accountability partner. Can be anybody, preferably not a family member, just because family members tend to take it like they're easier on you. But if you have a friend who's kind of a savage, who's also already in shape, that's a great accountability partner. And then the last thing is consistency. That's going to fall on you to be as consistent as you possibly can. And the best way to stay consistent is to actually make it simple, to not make it complex, just make it simple, because simplicity leads to consistency. Complexity is the enemy of consistency. So we don't want complex, we want simple. Okay. But you do those 4 things, you'll be in your dream body in 4 months or whenever your urgent date is, because those things work psychologically as well as practically to help you get the body of your dreams. Okay. So episode 1 is coming to an end. I really enjoyed recording this. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. For more suggestions on what you would like to hear about, whether in nutrition, whether in fitness, whether in life, whether about immigrants, whether about living an online entrepreneur life, building a team, entrepreneurship, systems, engineering, anything you want to listen to or you want more content on, just drop a comment below or shoot me a message on Instagram at mogaius.com or on Facebook at mogaius. We'd love to hear from you. And again, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the Healthy Systems podcast. I really appreciate you for tuning in today. Now, here are 2 ways I can help you for free. 1, you can join our free Facebook community by just going to this link, bit.ly/Titan Facebook group. Just type that into your browser and then answer 2 questions, and then we'll let you into our Facebook community where you'll meet other people, as well as we have a lot of free resources in terms of meal plans, workouts, all kinds of stuff in there. Second way I can help you for free is if you follow me on Instagram at mogaius, MOE, G as in George, H as in horse, I as in India, A as in apple, S as in Sam. Follow me there and then shoot me a message with the word Healthy Systems, and then I'll be sure to send you a free gift. Other than that, keep listening in, and I really appreciate you.